AtomicErgo. I am filling in for Earl Ray today, who is our normal host, and not glad that he's not here, but I was super happy to be able to do this for myself. Today we have Eric Hassen. He's Eric is a legend in the industry. I saw you. You don't know it, but I was at in Louisville at the ACU. Kentucky's my stomping ground, so it was a short drive, and you were doing a presentation on material handling. And
Okay.
yeah, so this hits my bailiwick so many ways. I jump up and down and rave about material handling because there's so many the risk factors in there. It's just to solve these problems, and you're definitely deeply embedded in this. So thank you. This is a true honor.
I'm looking forward to it, Steve. It's a pleasure.
And
It's my pleasure. Yeah,
and
for
plus, I'm going
sure.
to pick your brain. I'll charge people for it. No, I'm just kidding.
Just,
Anyway,
just,
we'll go ahead
just share the profits, Stevie.
yeah, there you go. There you go. I've made some notes here that I want to make sure that I go by. You got your BSPS from Ohio State, and the PS is pharmacy.
Yeah, it's a Bachelor of Science in Pharmaceutical Sciences.
Yeah,
Back then
yeah,
I was gonna be a pharmacist when I
yeah.
grew up. And no offense, the pharmacists out in the world, I don't think I would have enjoyed it, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Just the repetitiveness of it. I had an internship and did it for 2 years. I'm very happy to be in the material handling world for sure, 1000%.
Yeah, well, and I'll tell you the thing about that whole pharmacy area, just to have that degree, it means you're really smart. I know that. I mean, to that yeah.
We'll
Well,
see about that.
you were doing some, but anyway, Ohio State's it's a great university. And the other thing I want to touch on, so you've been with uh Caster Connections since 2016, correct? Wow, that's 9 years. That's doing some.
Actually, 2014, I think.
Okay.
It'll be
Uh,
12. It'll be 12 years, June 1st.
oh, okay. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
congratulations.
long
Uh,
time.
yeah,
Either way you look at it.
yeah. Well, that's in our industry, that's you see people that get in different their different lane, and they stay with it, and that expertise. I would call you if I was looking at something, and so anyway, again, glad to have you. But uh just a little bit about, you're the president of the AEC, uh and
Yeah, AES, the society, and then the AEC is the conference associated with it. Yeah,
yeah,
AES.
yeah,
Oh yeah,
AES.
buddy.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Anyway, yeah, that's and for the folks out there that don't know, that's a big deal. It's really to that kind of achievement. And one of the things I always like to ask is, what put you on the path and headed you down the path to ergonomics, to material handling solutions, is really what I would classify it as.
Yeah. So before Caster, I sold environmental health services. I sold cleaning for
Mhm.
almost 9 years, and it's long hours. It's 7 days a week. It's very grueling. So the current president and still president of Caster Connection at the time, Joe
Mhm.
Lydon, who I grew up with in Toledo, Ohio, randomly had an opening. We spoke, and the rest is history, basically. So that's how I got involved in casters. But when I first started, like basically, if you don't know what a caster traveling salesperson does, the long story short is I live the TV show How It's Made. That's the easiest way for me to describe it. So I go
Yeah.
into all these fun places, whether you make a boat, you make M&Ms, you make a fighter jet. I
Right.
walk in there and everyone seems to have a problem with pushing stuff around, right? Like it's crazy. Um,
Mhm.
but you don't know what you don't know. I know
Right.
casters, that's all I know.
Mhm.
And It's low-hanging fruit in the material handling world. It's the easiest, simplest way to fix your ergonomic problems based on, 37 variables that we have to ask you about when we're there. That's
Yeah.
basically what it is.
Yeah. Well, and you've risen to the top in that. You're the business development director. That's a great position in an organization, and it puts you, like you say, it puts you in a lot of good spots. And um, me personally, throughout the years, when I walk into some place and they're having material handling problems, I always look at the casters first. And I don't have the expertise that I needed to. So anyway, that's it may be low hanging fruit, but it's kind of a big deal. Um, Talking about industry focus. Now we were talking, you said, well, I don't claim to be an ergonomist, but you carved out a niche and innovation through your work. What led you, down to the casters and ergonomic challenges in the workplace? Solving those challenges, it's a big deal.
Well, I mean, the way clients see it, and even honestly, the way, I see it, you may see it, casters are a commodity. Like, right? You can get them anywhere. You can get them MasterCard, you can go to Home Depot, you can get them anywhere you want. But once you get into it, casters is just not a caster. A wheel is not a wheel. And when you start looking online, there's hundreds of thousands of different combinations. It's overwhelming for any human, even myself. Like it's overwhelming. So like they all do different things, and a caster is very complicated, unfortunately. And a lot of associates, clients, they just don't understand, and it's my job to help them understand, right? So, and it's just like AES, like people thirst for that knowledge. And it's my job as president to kind of help grab that knowledge. There's stuff all over the place, and getting it consolidated
Mhm.
can be very difficult. But the data shows, as you know, just for look at workman's comp, 23% of all OSHA 300 recordables are associated with pushing and pulling.
Material
It's a
handling. Exactly.
$13 billion problem.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And when you think about how many people work, 23%, it affects everyone, not just manufacturing, but here at my home office. If I got the wrong chair, if I've got my monitors wrong, you go in a hospital, pushing wheelchairs, like ergonomics is just absolutely everywhere. And it's fascinating.
Mhm.
And you can make a real difference in someone's life if you fix the ergonomic problem. Like
Mhm.
it's a big deal.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's well, and for the thing that I see is with the right caster, you're actually opening up the workforce to a wider range of people. If you have all 6'6", 350-pound guys, they're probably going to be able to push that stuff around, but you eliminate the biggest part of your workforce. So, I 100% agree. It's
People are your biggest asset,
yeah.
right? Especially like if you take manufacturing, they're the biggest asset. And, if I walk in somewhere, I want to reduce your push pull
Mhm.
at minimum 30%. If I can cut it in half,
Mhm.
it's a huge win,
Mhm.
right? So if I can not change your process in any way, shape, or form, but I reduce your effort
Mhm.
and your strain by half, I mean, you're talking an increase in productivity. The risk reduction is massive. Just the culture of your people, they'll want to come to work. Hey, you're
Right.
looking out for me. Hey,
Mhm.
I'll think about staying.
Mhm.
And if I eliminate one or two push pull injuries, I'm probably saving you at minimum 50, 60 grand, probably more. And
Mhm.
that's just, in those indirect costs. And, let's say you get hurt, Steve. You've been doing the same job for 30 some years. You have a lot of carnal knowledge about your business and what you do. And when you lose that
Mhm.
Steve, that
Mhm.
Bob Smith, I mean, that's a hit to your
Yeah.
organization. So we want to make sure, that don't lose individuals like that. We don't want to lose anyone, but
Right.
especially those highly important people that are very important to your operation. It's a big deal.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. No, that's a good answer. And you were talking about the 23. If you look at it's a 1 to 5 indirect cost. So for every dollar that you're captured in work comp, that doesn't count ill will. So if I've got an operation set up where, people know that you don't care about me, and I'm having to struggle every day, and then I get hurt, they're not going to be talking nice about it. It's not going to be a recruiting tool for you. So yeah.
No, no, definitely not.
Yeah.
And like I go in somewhere and you know, and it's a massive challenge, and it's not just a challenge in ergo, it's a challenge everywhere, right? If I'm trying to sell you something,
Mhm.
what's the biggest challenge?
Mhm.
Trust.
Exactly.
You got to make a change. And
Mhm.
that is scary. It is so scary, right?
Mhm.
Especially it's your job. And
Mhm.
if you make the wrong choice, that's on you.
Mhm.
Like it's my job to ensure that individual does his job properly. He looks good,
Mhm.
and it stays within budget. We do reduce push pull. So how do you build that trust quick? Like he doesn't know me from Adam, right?
Right.
So you got to have the data, you got to have the case studies, you got to have the referrals, you got to have all that sort of stuff in hopes that um, he'll trust you. So we normally say, you know what, friend, I'm extremely biased, which I am. Try him out, no charge. I'll come back in a couple months,
Mhm.
see how it goes. And when I come back, I can't tell you, Steve, how many times I've gotten hugs from people on the line, and I've been told you've changed my life. So when you
Uh,
talk about motivation, I mean that's a big
mhm.
deal. Like you can make a difference.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like I say, when people feel like you care about them, and it's not just the Hawthorne effect. Hawthorne effect is that initial sunshine and then everything goes away. Well, if I can continue to push and pull and it doesn't hurt me at the end of the day, then you know what, I'm truly a happy camper. And one of the things that we look at, and I'm always on my soapbox, and I know we've kind of danced all the way around it, is there's 77 million of us boomers. I could retire now. I'm within 2 years of retiring. Uh, and one of us goes out of the workforce or can leave every 8 seconds, 10,600 a day. And
Yeah.
it's Ross Perot ran for president several years ago. He was talking about NAFTA, and he said
Okay.
you're going to hear a giant sucking noise, and that's kind of what we're hearing in the workplace now. People are leaving at a record rate, and so it really it's a big deal.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
talking.
it's it's scary.
Oh yeah.
That's a lot of humans that we somehow have to find a way to replace. And if it's not for lack of a better term, safe place to work,
Yeah.
you know, that's a big deal. And I'm sure you're seeing this, from a
Mhm.
trend standpoint. That safety that may have been down here fourth, fifth on the priority level. I
Mhm.
mean, it is up here now. Like you have these massive organizations. Like look at Amazon. They want to be the safest company to work for in the world. I mean, that's
Mhm.
admirable. I mean,
Mhm.
and that's not easy. I mean,
Yeah.
that takes tremendous effort
Yeah.
internally in the culture and that all that sort of stuff. And
Mhm.
um, they're not the only ones. There's multiple organizations that are looking to do that.
Mhm.
And then you have, the fork free movement to eliminate forklifts to make it a safer, dock or warehouse or things like that. There's all kinds of trends like that going on. Like there's hope, Steve. there's hope,
I
right?
know. Yeah, I know I'm not, I'm not here to doom and gloom, but I'll tell you when I try to explain to people, and I literally speak on this all the time. I'm saying, you know what, you may go out of business if you run a crappy business. If you run a
Yeah.
business where you don't care about your people, and I'm not trying to hit on, but there's going to have choices. And, that choice may be I go next door and I may, same money, but they care about me because, the reason I know that's because all their employees talk about it. They're doing things to make my life better and my work life better.
One
So
1000%.
yeah, you're in a good business. One of the things I wanted to ask you about was a success story. And I know we've kind of talked about that, but if you want to share a success story with us, I'd appreciate it.
Sure. And I thought about this because I've got a couple, right? But this one was my first one.
Mhm.
And I know you're going to San Antonio, and you might even be around this place, but it's down in San Antonio around a large automotive manufacturer down there. We're at
Yeah,
one of the tier ones on campus, and
yeah.
these poor folks had to push around 5,000 pound dies. 5,000 pounds. And for frame of reference, for anyone listening or watching, that is almost 3 Ford F-150s.
Yep.
That's how heavy that is. Okay. So they had to push them around, initial force measurements, taking the gauge, couldn't move it. The gauge is reading, 120, 130 pounds. You're talking 3 people to move that
Right.
thing. Long story short, put the right casters on. It's down to a 1 person push. And I think, if I remember correctly, we were right around 50 pounds initial at 90 degrees. So, like, life changing
Mhm.
productivity. We just pulled 2 people off, and they had, 20 of these dies. So now we're down to 1 man push instead of 3 man push on 20 dies. Like,
Yeah.
it was a huge win. That was my first one. I did on my own. I didn't get help from anybody. I solved it by myself. But, I was like, you know what? This works. People really appreciate it. And, from that, I got referrals to 2 or 3 of the other tier ones on site. Like, if you solve something, like, other people want to know how you did it. Like,
Mhm.
and with the AES, the society, like, I'm trying to help figure out, like, we have all these ergo cup solutions. We
Right.
have all these abstracts. We have all these research papers and all these different things. How do we share it? How do we get people involved? Because people thirst for knowledge like that. Like, if that worked at one tier one, it's going to work at another 50
Mhm.
facilities, right? If not more. We just got to get it out and share it.
Mhm.
What's the easiest way? How do you consume versus the 30 something who's going to consume? Like, is it a video? Is it a PDF that's emailed? Like, it's different, right? Everyone consumes it differently. But we have to find a general way in centrally locating all of these resources.
Mhm.
And I might be letting the cat out of the bag a little bit, but we'll have a new Applied Ergonomics website that is completely revamped, blows the old one out of the water. No offense to it, to anyone who worked on it or was a part of it, because I was part of it.
Right.
But it'll be good. Material handling sections, all the free ergo resources centrally located, big student section because we need more students to be involved, get into the field, because we're going to start losing all these individuals like yourself, like, that have all this knowledge up here.
Mhm.
And where's it going to go?
Yeah.
We got to get it
Absolutely.
somewhere on paper. So, yeah, exciting times.
Yeah. Thank you. And you know what? Not to, just to replay what you did as well. You went to, you cut, I teach lean. I teach
Yeah.
Toyota production system. So
Yeah.
yeah, we would call that muda, that waste. And somebody got a success story out of that. I don't know who that was, but somebody, and like and you go everywhere. So good for you. Good for them, whoever it was. And it's some good stuff. Um, it's a couple of other things, and I did it. I said, I always hate it when people do it. I was the first, I threw out the first acronym. So AES is Applied Ergo Society for anybody that wants to know. And then
Yeah, we probably should have defined that earlier.
yeah, I was sitting here and I was thinking, because I always hear the jargon and
Oh
we're
yeah.
so it means something to, but for the people that are ready to break into the business, we need to be. But anyway, that Applied Ergo Society, which is it's the big one. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And then the AAC is the big conference. And when's the conference is in March, is that?
March
And
starts the weekend of the March 15th.
mhm,
So technically, Ergo Cup and judging and the actual like exhibitor showcase starts actually on St. Patty's Day, Monday, St. Patty's Day, the 17th. Opening reception 6 to 7:30, and then we'll have roundtables, um, master tracks, teaching sessions, certifications. Ergo Cup judging will be going on Monday through Thursday morning, and then Ergo Cup winners get announced on Thursday afternoon. And then you and I are talking about Ergo Cup because we know what it is.
right.
So for those of you out there who don't know what the Ergo Cup is, it is a massive ergonomics competition, and there's different divisions within the Ergo Cup. So you want it to be simple, you want it to be cost effective. And some companies have internal competitions, like I think Toyota has, for example, has internal competitions across the globe, and then they pick two or three winners to go. I know
Mhm.
like GE does that sort of stuff too. So it's cool to watch the internal stuff, and then they get rewarded for winning their whatever. But um it's big bragging rights in the ergonomics world. It really
Right,
is.
right.
There's usually between 45 and 50 um accepted Ergo Cup entries. There's usually hundreds of entries, but only so many get picked, and then they
Right.
get judged based on their division, and then colleagues vote, and then they get announced Thursday afternoon. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. I've been to a bunch of the conferences. They're well done. The people are friendly. It's one of those things where you go up to, the people and, hey, I'm Steve and I'm just getting into business anyway. Most people are like, oh yeah, you know what, we'll be glad to help you. And that's different. It's a big industry, but it's a small industry too. What we do is specialized and uh I don't know how people decide to get into it. I just kind of fell into it, but it's a great event. If you're going to go to something this year, it'd be worth the investment. That's all I can say on my personal experience with it and professional as well. So let's talk about just a second. So you've talked about the AAC a little bit, what goes on. What's the future of it look like? What do you've kind of touched on some things, you're revitalizing, you're making resources available to people. But what's the big picture? Where are you all headed?
um the short-term goals is the new website to be um the number one ergonomic resource out there.
Mhm,
There's some competition, yes, for sure.
mhm,
Um, and I think once the website's complete, and let's just say that's 2025's goal, then we will be looking to redo the body of knowledge,
mhm,
which will be a pretty massive undertaking.
mhm,
And then it based on the incoming president and then the president-elect, I foresee technological advances in getting people to we have to discuss these solutions. And currently, from the society standpoint and what we've done in the past, webinars are great. Don't get me wrong, they serve a purpose.
Right.
But if we're gonna share solutions and have dialogues, for example, at the AEC, there are 6 what we call master tracks. So, you have to submit an abstract.
Mhm.
It gets voted on internally by the conference committee, and
Mhm.
then only 6 are chosen. So this year, uh, my abstract was chosen. It's about choosing the right caster for
Mhm.
your application and the implications of that and the success of it. But it's a been a popular topic for the past couple years. So why can't we have a live event 3 months after the fact, whether you have the same panelists, maybe you invite some different folks in to get a different perspective on it. Hey, this is what we discussed. These were the bullet points. And you can kind of continue that conversation.
Mhm.
Because one of my ideas, and I'm sure you've thought about this, when you start talking about ergonomics and just for example, push-pull thresholds within a company,
Right.
Toyota has their specific level, Honda has theirs, John Deere, Case New Holland, they have theirs, and
Mhm.
they're all different. There
Mhm.
is zero standardization.
Right.
Now, why can't I get smart people like you and a couple others, and why can't we form a committee or consortium to where we standardize push pull to make it safe for all industry and warehouses and everything else? So
Yeah.
that's an idea. I think why can't we? I think some of the big three has the US car 41 thing that goes on, but that's just for them. Why can't we do that for everybody?
Yeah.
It would simplify things,
Oh,
I would think, right?
oh yeah. Oh yeah. It
And it would
what
make risk assessment a lot easier if it was all the same for everywhere.
right. And if you look at those risk factors, that push pull, y- when those are typically, the backs and shoulders. I mean, those are expensive and plus they're painful. The it's low hanging fruit. Uh, And you mentioned you said, well, it's just casters. I taught and I do it in every class. I have a resource list of ergo standardization for products. And casters is one of those things on there. And when I talk about doing a Kaizen event, I always tell people you gotta get some casters, but don't go down and dig them out of a bin. You might as well shoot yourself in the foot before
Yeah.
you go or throw them away as you go out. Invest in a substantial, a proven design, and it pays for itself. And like you say, you go from 3 people to 1 person. That the math is there. So
Yeah, for sure. We did a case study, Steve. This was years ago. And I think it was I think a tier one in the automotive sectors. It doesn't matter. What matters was they were spending, for easy math, let's say $10,000 a month in replacement parts, casters, wheels, right? And they had been doing that for 10 years. So 10,000 times 12 times 10 is $1.2 million.
right,
In replacement casters.
right.
Now, went in, this is the wrong caster, obviously, we know that. Here's the right caster. They put the right caster on. Yes, there's an investment there when you have thousands of carts. But after that change out, they didn't change a caster that I know of for 8 years, and then possibly longer. So if you use the right one, you can save so much money on labor, the MRO expense of just buying the casters, the shipping costs,
Right.
and then you start throwing in, the possible ergo piece of it. Like you get that money back relatively real quick. I mean, it's easy to do the math.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're not wrong, dude. Like casters are an investment. They are. but
Yeah.
you get your money back relatively quickly on that investment for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Not a commodity. They're, the right caster is a right caster. We're
Yeah.
absolutely the same page. So as far as you're sitting at the pinnacle of this, there's I know a lot of people who are like, they don't, so they're doing a little bit, they're doing a little bit of office assessment, but they want to dig on in. What's your advice to the people that want to follow this profession, that want to head into the, ergo profession? Uh,
We'll definitely go to the AES website. There's good stuff there for, especially if you're a student.
Mhm.
Now, if you're not a student, I gotta plug some of our good friends at Texas A&M.
Right, right,
Incredible ergo program.
right.
Doc Bendon down there, my
Mhm.
fellow AES board member, Martha Parker. Got to plug NC State, the Ergo Center.
Mhm.
I mean, there's really awesome resources out there to
Right.
get started. You can contact me. You can send
Mhm.
an email into the AES website. A board member will get in contact with you. Everyone in the ergo world is insanely friendly. They want to bring you in. They will help you in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Honestly, they can call you. We
Yeah.
all know it's a big industry, but the people are we're all connected in some way, shape, or form. We all know thousands of people.
Yeah.
So it's an easy way to get in, especially like, and it's real easy to get passionate about it. It's really weird.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know. It's hard to describe,
Yeah.
but a lot of people who are in it are passionate about it, and once they get in, you kind of stay there
They're
forever,
hooked. Yeah. Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah. Well, one of the jokes that I always like is I love going to ergo conferences because we don't have to spend 80% of our time explaining what the word ergonomics means. My mom and dad, they're like, yeah, what are you doing again? Yeah. So anyway, yeah, and it's good people. So yeah, thank
yeah.
you. That's exactly my approach. So, uh, this is a question we always ask, and you're definitely headed. What if you left a personal professional legacy? What would you want that to be? If you
Man, that is a very very difficult question. Legacy. That's from from my perspective, I would just want to be, I guess, regarded as honest, ethical, genuine. Um, I don't know if there's any product or there's I don't think there's like a material thing I'll ever be known for. I'd just rather be known for being a good human, being honest, and I helped a lot of people. Hopefully
right?
during the way, if I can help get that AES website off the ground and it's a great resource for a few years,
Mhm.
great. But I think that's the legacy is tough. I'm just a dumb bum sales guy. I'm not a professional ergonomist that's going to write research papers or anything like that.
Either.
But
Yeah,
just
yeah.
be known as a good human being, Steve, I
Yeah.
guess, and help people out. I guess that's all I can ask for.
Well, I think you've already hit a home run.
Let's
Yeah,
hope.
it's a big industry, but it's a small industry. And I was talking to a friend of mine, and he's an A&M guy. And I was telling him I'm going to interview Eric, and he was like, "Oh yeah," he's like, "Good dude, funny guy, and will help you." And so those are those are all home runs already. And
I got one fan, I guess.
well, I think you probably got more than that. But anyway, man, I sure appreciate it. If you want to get a hold of Eric, I follow him on LinkedIn. In fact, I tag him on material handling stuff, and
Yeah.
that's that's what we do is we share and we look at different ideas, and it's the same thing you were talking about. It's that spirit of let's help each other be successful. And but you can catch him there. You can go to their website if you want to, or you can we'll drop your email in your brief bio is when we put this up,
Yep.
or drop a line at in the down below, and we'll definitely make sure that Eric gets it. So anything else you want to say, you want to share?
Just want to say, thanks to you, Steve. I really appreciate the invite. I love talking, ergo, nerding out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is a small world. It is a massive problem. We always need good people in in our world. It's getting tougher and tougher by the
Mhm.
day, unfortunately. But yeah, please, happy to help. If you're looking to get into it, looking for a job, everyone is always looking for good people. Like I see posts a couple times a day
Mhm.
on jobs being offered. Happy to connect with anyone and everyone I know to help you out in any way, shape, or form.
Mhm.
And that's really about it. Steve's a great dude. Contact him. He's a wealth of knowledge. You cannot go wrong.
Well, thank you, sir. And
Yes, sir.
I hope to see you in Orlando.
I'll
We'll
be there with bells on. I'll be there Sunday at 3 o'clock. I just
Yeah,
booked my
well,
flight today.
pencil me in for coffee, and
You're
we'll
in. It's
yeah, all
10.
right. Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, brother. Appreciate the time.